Hey everyone, welcome to the InvestorBet NRL 2025 Grand Final try scorer projections. We have the Melbourne Storm against the Brisbane Broncos. I have 3 try scorers in this game, and in this video, I'm going to go through each one of them and share with you the reasons why I'm backing that player to score a try, and also which company has the best odds for them to score a try. Once we go through the NRL Grand Final, we're also going to go through the NRL Women's Grand Final. I have 4 try scorers in that game, and I'll also share with you who I think is going to win the game and the reason why for that. I know a few of you have been saying throughout the past couple of months if I could do similar stuff that I do for the NRL, for the NRLW League. That'll be coming next season. I just wanted to give it a few more years, build up some data, and then we'll do the stats on it as well. But firstly, Melbourne Storm versus Brisbane Broncos. I spoke about this game in depth in the full game preview, but 4 try scorers. So firstly, for the Melbourne Storm, I think they're going to go right heavy in this game. I know they have Xavier Coates on that left wing, who's their number 1 try scorer, but he hasn't really had great success in finals and big games, and also the Broncos are going to be well aware of that, and the Broncos' right edge defense is definitely their strongest side. You can see overall on the season, they rank number 2 in the entire NRL against left wingers. That means they've given up across the whole season the second least number of tries to the opponent left winger. Coates has only scored in one of his last 3 games, which was in the final few minutes of the game against the Sharks. He does have a good record against the Broncos, scoring in 3 of the past 4 for 4 tries. But Brisbane, alongside their number 2 ranking, they have also only conceded to an opponent left winger in 1 of their last 5 games. We saw last week, Penrith had success going to the right edge. Paul Alamotti got a double. So for this game, we're going right wing first of all, and that is Will Warbrick. He's $2.30 at Sportsbet. The Broncos, they've conceded to a right wing in 3 of the last 4 games for a total of 5 tries. You can see right here, the Broncos' left edge defense ranks 15th overall. That means their left edge has let in the 3rd most tries of any team this season, which is not something for a team in the grand final, and I think the Storm are going to do everything they can to exploit that. That means Warbrick should get opportunities, and he's $2.30 compared to Coates at around the $1.80, $1.85 range. So that's certainly the way that I want to go. Warbrick has scored in his last 3 games, so both finals and then the final game of the season, including the game against the Broncos. And he has also scored in 4 of his 6 games this season. He has scored in his last 3 in a row against Brisbane and 4 of his last 5 overall, but a total of 7 tries across those last 5 games. We only need him to get 1 here. So he's going to be the first try scorer for this game. The other options for the Storm that aren't plays is the right center position. So if you're not keen on taking Warbrick at the $2.30, Nick Meaney at right center, he's paying over $4, which I do think there is a bit of value in that. The Broncos rank 15th to the right center. They've conceded in 3 of the last 6 games. Meaney has scored in 1 of his last 3, but just 2 of his last 10 overall. And he's had a season of 2 halves. His first 11 games, he scored in 6 of them, and then his last 10, he's only scored in 2 of them. But he did score last time against the Broncos in round 27, so should get opportunities with the Storm going to that right edge. So definitely wouldn't talk you out of it. You could potentially also half stake Warbrick and half stake Meaney and play it like that. There's a few different options, but I think that's going to be, at least for the first half, if not 3/4 of this game, the Storm are going to be putting most of their attack towards that right side of the field, and we'll more so use Coates for the kicks and that kind of thing. Also for the Storm, the other popular play is at fullback in Ryan Papenhuyzen for try scorers. He's around the $2.50 mark. The Broncos have conceded to the fullback in 3 of the last 7. They rank 6th overall, so not too bad, but also not fantastic either. Papenhuyzen has scored in 3 of his last 5 games, scored a bit of a miracle try last week against the Sharks, where Munster put in the chip. Papenhuyzen was able to get a toe to it, then the ball sat up and he was able to get grounded just in front of Will Kennedy. He scored in 2 of his last 5 against the Broncos. The only reason I'm happy to not make him a selection in this game, even though I think all things being equal, he should get opportunities, is just because in that game against the Sharks last week, he's definitely favoring the shoulder. There were a couple of occasions where you could tell he wasn't at 100%, and not really, like most players by this stage of the season aren't at 100%, but when players are showing obvious signs of injury, then I don't think they're going to be absolutely at their best, or at least very close to it. So just happy to leave him out here. Wouldn't be surprised if he scores a try. Like, he can often get the first, second tries in games. But for this matchup, happy to leave him out. The other player for the Storm that I'm going with is in the second row. We backed him last week. He wasn't able to score there, but he has scored in 3 of his last 4 games. That is Eli Katoa. He's $2.85 at Bet365. This is going to be a half stake play. As if you've watched the previous videos, once we get to these finals, big games, tend to limit the number of selections, or at least limit the staking on those selections, because finals historically are lower scoring games than regular season games. We did see like that one big shootout between the Bulldogs and Panthers, but the majority of games aren't like that. Everyone saw that the Panthers-Bulldogs game, and then also the Broncos-Raiders game was high scoring, with the Broncos running in those late tries, which really crept the score up. But everyone thought the Broncos-Panthers was going to be a super high scoring game last week, which wasn't the case, and it was in the afternoon at Suncorp Stadium, which is generally a high scoring situation for that venue. But finals and prelims, grand finals, for the most part, aren't high scoring games. But we do have 2 really good attacking sides, 2 of the top 3 overall on the season. But for this game, I'm going to play Eli Katoa at a half stake at Bet365. As I mentioned, he scored in 3 of his last 4, just missing against the Sharks, and has also scored in 3 of his last 4 against the Broncos for a total of 4 tries. The Broncos have conceded to a second rower in 2 of their last 3 as well. So the 2 selections for the Storm: Will Warbrick, $2.30 at Sportsbet, and half staking Eli Katoa at $2.85 at Bet365. Then for the Broncos, now for Brisbane, I think you need to go wings here. If you look through, the Storm don't give up much at all through the middle. They concede the least tries to second rowers, front rowers, and halves. So on the edges is where they can be beaten. So left wing and right wing are the 2 ways to go. On the right wing, you have Dean Mariner for the Broncos. On the left wing, Josiah Karapan. Now, the Storm ranked 14th to right wingers and 10th to left wingers when I did a little bit more digging. This 10th ranking that they have here is on the improve. They've only conceded to an opponent left wing in 1 of their last 7 games, whereas to the right wing, they've conceded in 4 of their last 5 for a total of 8 tries. You'll remember, started with Mark Nowak scoring the 4 tries against them, and then other teams have had success as well. Last week, Sione Katoa got a double out there. I'm going to go on the right wing, Dean Mariner. He's $2.50 at Neds. This is also going to be a half stake selection. What this means is if you back all 3 selections with the recommended staking, if Will Warbrick scores a try in this game, then you're guaranteed profit. So for Mariner, he scored in both finals this season and has scored in 1 of his last 4 games against the Storm. But I think Broncos can see success on that right side. Their left edge has been the number 1 all season, but the Storm should be able to shut it down, and they can't get success down that left side with that Storm defense, then I think the Broncos are going to need to go to the right. They had success last week against Penrith doing that. Mariner scored that late try. It was a bit of a mismatched try. It wasn't like clean and that kind of thing, but they got the try out there. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets another one in this game. And like Josiah Karapani on the left wing is definitely also a good option, scoring in 5 of his last 6 and did score in his only game against the Storm. But of the 2, Mariner at the bigger odds on that side of the field where the Storm have been leaking a lot of tries of late. The Broncos should really look to target it. Also for the Broncos, this is not a play, but I just mentioned Reece Walsh at fullback. He's around the $2.30 mark, which I think is a little bit short. Don't think there's much value in there at all. Storm have conceded to a fullback in 2 of their last 4 games for a total of 3 tries. He has scored in 5 of his last 6 and missed last week against the Panthers, and he scored in 2 of his last 3 against the Storm. Got a double against them in round 27, so 3 tries in the 2 games of the last 3 that he's scored against them. My only reason for not backing him here is, firstly, I think he's just that little bit too short. And when you combine that with the fact that the Storm are going to have part of their game plan is going to be really focused on shutting down Walsh as much as they possibly can and minimizing his impact, because the more he gets involved, the more unpredictable Brisbane become. And the Storm, their defense is largely based on predictability and system, whereas if the Broncos really start to throw the ball around and get that kind of movement going, then it becomes harder to defend. We saw that late against the Panthers. We saw it late against the Raiders. Storm are going to try and minimize that as much as they can, and they are one of the best defensive sides and have been for a long time. And I think they'll be able to minimize Walsh's impact, or at least that's going to be a major focus. So for that reason, I don't want to take him to score a try in this game. So we're going Dean Mariner, half stake, $2.50 at Neds. Eli Katoa, half stake, $2.85 at Bet365. And Will Warbrick for the Storm, $2.30 at Sportsbet. Those are the 3 try scorers for the NRL Grand Final. If you want to watch the full game preview where I go through all the stats, break down where each team's strengths and weaknesses are, how that compares to night games, day games, whether they're in a away situation, on the day's rest, all that kind of stuff, that's all in the other preview. Apologies for the audio on that. Ever since I upgraded the microphone that I use to make these videos, there's been audio issues. Some videos are okay, other videos it plays up, but it should be working from this point forward. I've been assured that the audio should be fixed moving forward, so we should be good. This video should turn out well. Hopefully that is the case, but definitely check out that video. I've put a lot of the notes from my research on the game in the description as well, so even if you don't want to listen to the whole video, just click on it, go to the description, and you can read through the stats and trends and everything from the game there. At least it'll give you some really good information to make your betting decisions on the game. Now, the women's grand final, as I said, we'll talk about this one. Broncos are $1.67 favorites, and the Roosters are $2.21. The handicap is -3.5 here on the Broncos. Brisbane have the favorite in the women's game and the underdog in the men's game. Now, this season, Roosters finished top of the ladder. They went through the season undefeated. The Broncos finished second on the ladder. They only lost the one game, which was obviously against the Roosters. The stats for these sides: Brisbane are the number 1 attack, averaging 36.7 points per game, and are also the number 1 defense, averaging 10.5 points conceded per game. Roosters are the number 2 attacking side, averaging 33.3 points per game, and are the number 2 defensive side, conceding 11.5 points per game. So there's very little between them. Broncos are just the slightly better attack, slightly better defense. The meeting that they had was all the way back in round 3, so quite some time ago now. Roosters won that 30-26, and that means they've now won 5 consecutive games against the Broncos. That game earlier in the year, the Roosters jumped out to an 18-0 lead. They led the game 24-10 at halftime. The Broncos got it back to 24-22. And the Roosters scored the winner late. Brisbane got a late try to get to the 26 with about a minute or so to go in the game. Now, coming into this game, Roosters obviously have been undefeated all year. They beat the Sharks 17-16 in the semi-final to get into this matchup, and the Broncos, they've won 9 in a row. They defeated Newcastle, who finished 3rd on the ladder, 30-6 last week to make their way through. Roosters have won their last 2 grand finals. They're the reigning premiers. They won 2024 and 2021. Broncos won 3 in a row back in 2018, 19, and 2020. That was the last time they'd made it through to a grand final. But we've got the 2 best teams all year. Clearly, there is quite a bit of discrepancy between the teams in the Women's League. It's definitely not as even as the men's NRL. But for this game, I don't think there's going to be much between them. If you get the Roosters with the +4.5 or a little bit more, then I don't mind that. I do lean towards the Broncos winning just on the back of being the better attack and better defensive side. They'll also have more of the support, with the Broncos having a good contingent of fans in the crowd, who I don't know how many will turn up early for this game. You'd think a few would, and that should motivate the Broncos. So it won't be even though the game is in Sydney, where you'd expect the Roosters to have more support, with the Broncos being in the grand final, Brisbane should have the majority of the support in this game. So I'd lean towards the Broncos getting over the line and winning this game, but I do think the market is fairly accurate with the Broncos as small favorites. And I think they bring in the slightly better form into this matchup off the last couple of weeks with that big win over the Knights and the Roosters just scraping through over the Sharks. So I think Broncos win the game, but Roosters potentially keep it close. Broncos 1-12 would probably be the margin play if I was to have one on this game. Then for try scorers, we've got 4 try scorers for this game. These are the lineups right here. For the Roosters, I think they're really going to target the right-hand side. So I'm going to half stake the Roosters right winger and the Roosters right center. The Broncos left edge defense is by far their weakest side, and the top scoring position against the Broncos this year has been the opponent right winger. So firstly, for the Roosters, half staking on Taina Naividi. That's 275 at TAB. She has scored in 6 of 11 games this season for 11 total tries. Scored in the earlier game this season against the Broncos, and playing on that right edge should get opportunities in this game. Then at right center, we're going Jessica Sergis, who's 290 at TAB. We're also half staking. She has scored in 5 of her last 8 games and has scored 4 tries in her last 3 games against the Broncos, but didn't score in the game earlier this season. But at 290 and 275, if either of these players score, and they should get plenty of opportunities, then we will profit on the Roosters try scorers in this game with their current odds. Then for the Broncos, we're going fullback Tamika Upton, who's $1.65 at Sportsbet. She has scored in the last 5 consecutive games and scored 11 tries across those 5 games. Throughout the season, has scored in 9 of 12 matches for a total of 19 tries. She has previously scored 6 tries in 8 games against the Roosters, including a double back in round 3. And also the Roosters, their opposition top scoring position against them is the fullback. It was equal top. So I think it's a really good situation here for her. So $1.65 at Sportsbet. Definitely the full stake selection on this game. Is the shortest player to score a try, but also clearly has the stats to be able to back that up. Add that to the Broncos are favorites for this game. If they are to win, then it's highly likely she scores a try. Also for the Broncos, we're going left wing for a half stake. That is Kerry Johnson, who's 230 at TAB. Roosters, their right edge defense is their weaker side, so expect the Broncos to target that and go left more often than not in this game. She has scored in 8 of 12 games this season, including 4 of the last 5 games, and also scored back in round 3 against the Roosters. It was the very final try of the game, just with that minute to go. So that means there was a little bit of luck involved. Roosters were just trying to get to full time and they got a late try. So that's not ideal, but half stake here with the Broncos more likely to go left. I'm happy to play it. So for this game, we're going Naividi, 275 at Tab, half stake. Sergis, 290 at TAB, half stake. Tamika Upton, $1.65 at Sportsbet, and then Johnson, 230 at TAB for a half stake. So those are the 4 selections for that game. I'll just quickly recap for the men's game in case anyone has skipped to the end. We're going Storm, right wing, Will Warbrick, 230 at Sportsbet. Storm, second row, Eli Katoa, 285 at Bet365 for a half stake. And Broncos, right winger, Dean Mariner, 250 at Neds or Ladbrokes for a half stake. Here's are the plays for grand final weekend in the NRL. Final games, really exciting. Should be a great matchup. Really looking forward to these games. They should be great on Sunday afternoon and Sunday night. Remember, the full game preview is out already on the channel. Coming up this weekend as well, we've got horse racing Friday night, Saturday, and Monday. So if you want to try out Invest Racing, then definitely go to the link in the description and set up your account. You get 3 days across the next 4 days. So it's really good timing to maximize and see what it's actually like to be a part of it and profit betting on horse racing. We've also got week 5 of the NFL gets underway tomorrow. As the season progresses, the results in the NFL get better because we have more information, which, as I always say, it's like the more information you have to make decisions, the better decisions you make, the more money you make. So really excited as the NFL season rolls on and rolls on through the rest of the summer. There's going to be a video coming out on this channel maybe tomorrow night, so Friday night, or at least over the weekend. where I'm going to go through 10 strategies for finding profitable bets on the NFL. So definitely stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any videos through the off season if you want to learn how to profit from your betting accounts and make at least a second income betting on sports and horse racing. This channel is all about showing you how to do that, whether it's researching games and looking at the stats like we do here, or other strategies that will give you profit on your account that you can withdraw. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to spend time betting, you may as well make money out of it. And that's what I've been able to do for over 14 years now. And the purpose of this channel is to show you how to do the same. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed these videos and just enjoyed the NRL season altogether. Good luck with your bets for the grand finals, and I'll see you in the next video.